Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's another divine download from your friends Teena Deva and Teena on the Divine Mess. This is episode 4. Oh my God, can you believe it? We're a month into this already, which is so very, very exciting. So today, after you've learned a little bit about us in the previous episodes, we thought we would have a little bit of a conversation about masculine and feminine energy and take some of the woo-woo out of it and talk about it in a science point of view and a little bit of a practical point of view in terms of how can you identify those energies within yourself and the people that perhaps cohabitate with you, and how can you best utilize the positive side of those energies in being able to navigate your own divine mess a little bit better. So I might throw it to my gorgeous friend in yellow today to have a little bit of a chat about masculine energy, because that is his go-to subject. He is so very full bottle on all of it, and run us through what are some of the positive traits, what are some of the not so positive traits that maybe we need to be aware of in not only the beautiful men in our lives, but also within us as women, because we hold both energies. So maybe you might be able to identify with some of those as Deva is having a conversation, go, oh, I do that. Oh, yes, well, okay, maybe we need a little bit of energetic cleanup going on within our own selves. So over to you, my good friend.
Oh, well, thank you for this lovely introduction, Teena, again. Well, actually, for the viewers or listeners, I'm Teena Deva, also known as Deva. I'm a holistic life coach. I am the founder of the Hero's Mystic. The aim of it is to transmute your fears and transform your life in a healthy and positive way. And like Teena said, my go-to is like the masculine energy, because I'm looking to work in that field, especially targeting like the mental health. But like Teena said, like the divine masculine energy is present both in men and women. So we all have it. And it's about creating a good balance. And that's where we both come in and teaches people how to balance it in a healthy way so that they can experience a blissful life, a joyful life as well. And for me, like masculine energy, throughout, I have been doing a few research about it. And the main word that came out for masculine energy was action, is taking action. And it's about confidence, assertiveness, leadership. Um, Warrior type is another one that I saw as well, like cultivating that inner warrior, but in a healthy way. And these are interesting. I find it interesting that those words are often associated with masculine energy, where it's all about taking that action, whereas the feminine energy, which we'll talk a bit about later, is more about the being. The way I see it is like, if you have a project to do and if you have a task to complete, that's where you tap in your masculine energy to take the right action, to take the inspired action. But the inspired action come from tapping in within, using the feminine energy, which you will talk a bit later as well. But it's taking that action, taking that step, because you can feel it. For example, when someone is walking in the room, you can sense that power, but it's a calm and assertive one. It's not an aggressive, dominating, and these are like seen as the wounded masculine energy, like dominating, controlling, trying to put words into your mouth, for example. And often you can see like narcissistic behaviors that are unfortunately seen in some men. It's not only in men, but it can be seen in women as well, if both gendered, but mostly in men. And often that wounded masculine is seen um, in many men. And lately, you can see the toxic masculinity taking over in the last few years, which is unfortunate because we don't have a proper model of the divine masculine, like we call it, or the healthy masculine energy, which is unfortunate. And that's what this podcast is about as well. What we are aiming for is like to create that balance, to show people that no, actually you can balance your energy at the masculine and the feminine as well. And sometimes if you're listening and you're thinking wounded masculine, is that does that mean like injured, like I'm physically injured? No. It means like the emotionally, it may be emotional trauma. And just a side note, if you think that you have an emotional trauma, please go to a professional mental health, a mental health professional, sorry. That's our advice on this spot, because we are no expert in the mental health aspect maybe, but we can provide good resources where you can look for mental health help, because we talk about like healing your emotional trauma and the masculine energy. One tip I can give you right now is like how to start working with that I saw throughout my research is to heal your father part, your father wound. Maybe you had a good relationship with your father, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you have a wounded masculine one. But some people, unfortunately, they have a negative side of the wound of the masculine energy, and unfortunately, it's through their bad behavior from their male figure model. Like when they started to grow up, and that's really unfortunate. And then they turn out to be really aggressive, want to dominate because they are wounded. So whenever you see someone being aggressive and dominating, you can assume or just guess maybe there's that wounded masculine energy in there.
True.
And
but I think sometimes also too, it comes across as men being overtly soft. Like if they're in a wounded masculine space, they don't know how to harness their own power. They look to, their relationship may be a little bit imbalanced in terms of the woman that they've chosen to partner with, or the man that they've chosen to partner with is overtly forceful, or is seen as the doer, where they tend to float more in that feminine side. So it's always very much a balancing act. But like David said, it's about recognizing the traits. And if you feel that we're here to inspire and empower and educate, but we're not here to act as mental health professionals, doctors in that sphere. So if you feel that you need that type of assistance, and you're recognizing some things within yourself that you don't feel is a journey you can undertake by yourself, then please, take the time, go and talk to your general health practitioner, go and get a referral, go and speak to someone who provides fantastic mental health resources, a clin psych, a psychiatrist, psychologist, anybody in that environment is worth seeking out. To, every now and again, everybody needs professional help. There's no stigma, there's no sin against putting your hand up, simply because you've got issues in trying to sort stuff out in your own head. Doesn't mean you should go, not go looking for the assistance that you need. I think it shows a great deal of strength and courage when people do put their hands up and say, hey, you know what, I'm not coping so well with this. So in terms of that masculine energy, what sort of tipped the point for you in terms of looking at it and identifying it and going, well, this is something I really want to take a deeper dive into, or having a level of understanding or knowledge? You know, was it clients that were coming in your door? Was it your own personal journey? What was it that sort of stepped you into that space?
Well, I would like to go back to the point you mentioned just right before about asking for help. And that was something I'm guilty of as well. Like asking for help is something like, as men, it's very difficult for us to ask for help. So this is the first part for me. Like, you need to recognize when you need help and just put your hands up and say, yes, I need help. And like you said, it's a sign of strength. But back then, before doing any research, it's like I was, no, I don't want to ask for help. Like, I'm a man, or I need to figure it by myself. I need to make it right. I need to do everything perfectly. I need to provide, which is the set role models in our society. I need to protect for men. And for me, I would say like it started when I came to New Zealand in 2019. That's when I learned more about toxic masculinity, which is quite common, unfortunately, in this part of the world, but it's across the world, and it's irrespective of cultures. And when I came, because I realized even I was not talking about emotion, even if I was in the field of listening to others, but I was not comfortable back then to speak about emotion because I grew up in a culture where you're not supposed to cry. Men are not supposed to cry. And it's a sign of, it was seen as a sign of strength if you don't cry as men. And that's where you bottle up your emotion. And then you, for me, it's like I describe it, it's like you're becoming like a volcano, like a time bomb, and you can just explode at any time. And for men to recognize if they are having like behaviors which are way too aggressive, even towards themselves, when they're beating themselves down in terms of their self-talk is way too negative, and they're having those negative thoughts, and they don't want to seek their friend, they are isolating themselves, they're staying on their own. That's not good. That's not a good sign. And that's where you really need to ask for help, because it's funny, like I recently saw a video online where someone asked, so if you're really down, who would you ask for help? Like if you're really low, and it was asking the men about that, no one answered. No one answered.
Yeah.
So when in this video, when you can see that everyone was saying, like it was all the boys or men responding to that video, and every single one said no, they won't even ask anyone, even their best friend, their parent, because their main concern was like, who would care? Who would care if something happened to me? Like, who cares? And that was alarming for me when I started to see that with my clients, even when they come to me, like I had like only 10% men out and 90% I was working with women. And that shows how we struggle as men to go and ask for help. And that's where I feel the wounded masculine come into play as well, because there's a lot of history as well going back in time where you have to recognize, for example, the parents here, or even back in the days, like most of them were raised by their moms because their fathers went to war, for example. And that's just one example.
Yeah.
And so they were raised by a feminine figure, and they didn't have that role model, that positive male figure to grow up. And then when their fathers came back or not, it was more aggressive, and they were suffering from PTSD, which had an adverse effect on those children as well, which
Absolutely.
then created a generational trauma, which keep on going, And so there's different factors affecting the masculine energy as well. And I think it does with the feminine energy as well. We hear mostly about the toxic masculinity, but unfortunately there's the other side as well.
The women can be quite ugly in terms of their toxic masculinity, in, you know, thinking that they have to be the alpha, the bitch, the, you know, the hard ass to actually get anything done. Because look, feminist movement, amazing, so good for so many things, but all it really did was push women into that wounded masculine space in order to try and achieve what we were looking for, which was actually equality. But we wanted equality for being recognized for the strengths that being a woman brings to the table, you know, whereas our, you know, our vulnerability and our gentleness and our intuition and our ability to think outside the box and, you know, to being able to tap into the emotional energy of a room, those sorts of things, they were all things that were not recognized as strengths. They were recognized as weaknesses, as women moving into the, you know, business and corporate spaces. But I think now they're really recognizing that women, when they're in full flight, when they're in their empowered or divine space, are equal to any man who has done the work, who has ridden his emotional waves, knows exactly how to hold space, how to take affirmative action, how to listen, how to collaborate, how to get his point across without smothering any other human within the vicinity. So then it just allows women to be in that space where we can be in receivership of someone holding the dance space, so that we can then be in that really juicy creative flow and a space that works really, really well, you know. And then we don't have to be indecisive because we know where the boundaries are. We don't have to be in that people-pleasing, put yourself last type space. You know, we have the ability to be, you know, women are great diplomats, let's face it. You know, we have the ability to be very tactful and nurturing, but at the same time, still be able to deliver the truth of the situation without necessarily demeaning somebody else's sense of self, or their sense of, you know, their self-esteem, their ability to feel good about themselves. It's like, you know, I love all of this about what you're doing, but this is an area we need to work on. So I think we all need to be very mindful, and even someone did an exercise with me once in terms of, you look at all the lists for wounded masculine, empowered masculine, wounded feminine, divine feminine, and you write it up in a square box, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you read through all the descriptive words and you write a check mark in the box for each of those sections, and you look at where the balance and the imbalance is over a week, and you go, okay, well, have I been bitchy today? Have I been helpful today? Have I been aggressive today? Have I, you know, been tactful today? Have I felt creative? Have I felt intuitive? You know, all these things. And then you go, oh, my wounded feminine's up a bit high this week. And, oh, actually, so's my wounded masculine side. And it's a great leveler, I think, in terms of getting to understand how the energies play out in your life on a weekly basis. It's a really good check-in tool in terms of, okay, this is, yeah, I could probably do with listening a little bit better. I could probably do with not jumping to conclusions about people. I could be a little bit softer and gentler with myself. You know, there's lots of things, but I think it's a great check-in tool in being able to establish what those energies mean for you on a weekly, and then going, well, and there's nothing to say that you are ever going to always be in the divine or the empowered column.
Yeah.
Hello, people. No. That is not. Our aim is, yes, to be the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
But we are all, you know, doing the work is cyclic. We are always going to find a deeper level for everything. So we are always going to exhibit some of those traits in that wounded side of the column. It doesn't matter how much or how little work you have done, you are going to see those things within yourself, and you are also going to see the people that surround you mirror those traits back to you. Where you will get frustrated and you will get pissed off and you will get annoyed and you will get disappointed and all those things.
Where you will drop the F-bomb.
You may. On a regular basis. So that's, I would say that's my one suggestion would be, and we will probably put up on our Instagram and Facebook posts, you know, like the check-in sheet with the lists, and you can sit there with your partner and, you know, or your best friend, sit down with a cup of coffee or a gin and tonic or whatever floats your boat, you know, for shits and giggles on a Friday night, and go, in this week, have you felt, and list, okay, that's for box 1. That's for box 2. That's for box 3. That's for box 4. Let's have a look. And then maybe your partner or your best friend do it for you in how they see you, and then do the reverse for one another.
Yeah, that's interesting one.
And you may find that they see different things within you that you don't see within yourself, or they look to you for strength, for calmness, for clarity, for assertiveness, for power, for all of these things. And then you go, oh, well, you know, you did wake up a bit bloody grumpy this morning and you're a bit moany and a bit whingy, and like, you know, took 2 cups of tea and a cup of coffee for you to kind of get your shit back together. But only the people that are closest to you, I think, can give you a very clear and present picture of how you're coming across in the world. You might think you've got your stuff together, you are better than it in a bit. Let me tell you, you can come off not on the good side of the equation.
No.
When you ask, but then sometimes you might be pleasantly surprised and go, oh, okay, I think I did. I did a AAA job this week. So thank you for recognizing those things in me. But I think it's a good check-in with one another, because we get so wrapped up in the busyness of kids, dogs, jobs, household chores, washing machines breaking down, you name it. We have it all going on. And I think we forget to check in with each other and going, how are you coping this week? You know, what can I do to better support. Or help, or, you know, is there something I can take off your plate? You know, I've got some time. Can I take some of that off your plate to be able to be a better friend, be a better partner, be a better brother, be a better sister, you know, be a better parent? You know, because you can do the same thing with your kids in going, you want to give me a rating this week? Just kind of give me a gauge as to where I'm up to, you know, possibly where I can improve.
It's like giving 5 stars, you know, like a movie rating, but it's about your life. And it's more about yourself. Like, how did you see yourself as well? But I'm really curious, you know, because I know you have worked with a lot of women, and you're still working with a lot of women. How would you describe the feminine energy to your clients or to the listeners? And have you come across the wounded feminine as well?
Oh,
I know
lots.
you just briefly touch on it just before, but
Well, look, I can talk from experience of when you
mm,
are sitting in that wounded space. It was, I did not value myself. I did not value my opinion. I would not speak my truth. I was very easily manipulated. I would attach myself to people very, very quickly, looking to them for the direction rather than looking within for the direction. And
mm,
when you are attached to a partner who sits very heavily in the wounded side, they're not really good at establishing those
mm,
boundaries in which you feel comfortable and free to
mm,
be the best version of yourself, to be able to speak your opinion, to be able to be creative, to, you know, and whether your creativity is cooking really sexy meals at home, or whether it's painting, or whether it's drawing or singing or dancing or whatever your creative thing is, if you don't feel safe enough in your environment, in your relationship, all of that just goes into the back burner and has to wait until the energy feels comfortable to be in flow, right? Because the feminine energy is about flow. Someone once described masculine and feminine energy to me in a really, really cool way. Like, if you picture surfing, the masculine energy is the person on the board paddling out, right? Paddle, 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 paddle out. And then they're turning around and they're waiting. And then once the board catches the wave, that's the feminine energy. That's the going with the
being in
flow
the floor.
and
Mm,
being in the flow. And then to
yeah,
turn around and do it again is when you're going back through strategic action and you are
setting the boundaries as
setting
well.
the boundaries of going, oh,
Mm,
I don't want to go that far because I can't see the bottom of the ocean. I'm prepared to
yeah,
go this far, and
yeah.
then I'm going to turn around and then I'm going to catch
Mm,
the wave. And, you know, as we become more confident, we're prepared to paddle out a bit further or to stretch
yeah.
ourselves as a person to grow and, you know, to ride the wave more
Mm,
comfortably, or, you know, that we're fully standing up, we're not on our knees, or we're not riding it on our bellies, you know, those sorts of things as we become more confident in who we are. And like, I'm approaching the 5-0 portion of my life, not the 3-0 portion of my life. So with that comes a level of self-confidence and ability to know what you want, and knowing when I'm in a space where I feel calm, confident, centered, all of those words. And then I can go, but all of a sudden now I'm in my new space and I'm just starting to find everything. All my creativity is coming back, and I'm like, oh, I want to get my pens, my pencils out again, and I want to start creating again, and I want to start my jewelry line again, and I want to bring all of that back into, you know, into the swing of things. So I think that's because I am in that space and I have someone that can provide not only the someone, but I can also provide that for myself, that safe, secure, this is me. Then I can feel that I'm able to speak my truth like I do. I talk to you every week. I can be creative. I can go, you know what? I can do my jewelry line. I can, you know, because I can. And the people that are going to want it will be naturally attracted to all the things that I am, you know, but also see that there's been a journey to get there. And I think it takes time to really dig into who you are, what you're looking for, what this human life suit thing is about, and the journey that comes with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think just being in creative flow and feeling safe and feeling in alignment with who I am. And don't get me wrong, for nearly 50 years, I have struggled with who the fuck am I? What do I want to do? What does that look like? And is anybody going to want it? Does anybody want to talk to me? Does anyone want to listen to the stuff I've got to say? And in the end, you just go, if you don't put it out, you're never going to know. You know, so for me, it's that I'm secure, I'm comfortable, I'm confident, and now the flow is really starting to happen for me. And I suppose for guys, they can feel the same thing, because, the guy can provide the safety, the security, but the woman brings about, the guy provides the house, the woman provides the home. She provides the peace and the tranquility and the harmony and stuff kind of coming together, that growth and the energy and the playfulness and the fun and all
And
of
that's
that.
how you merge like both of them. I would like to expand on the surfer analogy that you just did. Like sometimes I because I was visualizing, while you were speaking, I was seeing how can we explain that to someone. Like it feels like at times in your life you will feel that you're on the beach, like you're looking at the ocean, and you're thinking, do I have the right surfboard? Do I go out there? Is it too far? Is it do I have the right mentor? Or it's those questions that comes, and then you don't take any action. And that's where the masculine energy can take over. And that's where you tap in and you say, no, I'm going to set a goal today, for example, and just say, let's say it's 100 meters. I'm just giving an example. Of course, it won't be 100 meters, but let's say it's 100 meters for today. And you just take the board and you just do it. It's like using Nike motto, like just do it. And that's where you tap in the masculine energy. And then, like you said, once the wave come in, you ride the wave, being in the flow, and then you do it back again. And that's why
it's
it's
thrill, I think, of it's feeling like it's coming together, right? It's like it's hard work, carrying, doing all that stuff on your shoulders and paddling and stuff. I think it comes down to riding that wave is really, it's physically challenging, right? And when you think about the goal or the mess that you're trying to navigate, it takes time and effort and energy, but you have an end goal in mind, right? Like, let's say for me, it's being able to run 21 Ks. At the moment, I can probably successfully run about 2.5. I'm 10% of the way there, right? So
no, you can do more than that.
I know I can do at least 5. I know that. But consistently, it's about consistently showing up, right? So if you are consistently getting on your board, and even though your arms feel like lead, or, you're consistently moving through this mucky emotions or a challenge in a workplace or a relationship or whatever, you still have to keep moving through it, because by sitting on the beach and being an observer, nothing changes, right? You are just an observer in your own life. And yes, we've all gone through spaces where that has happened, but we have to make a choice about making a change, right? And change is difficult and it's hard and it's a pain in the ass and it's all the stuff, but we need to go, today I'm going to try. And you know what? If you get 20 meters out and you do your bit and you lay on your belly and you float back in, and you get back in, you go, wasn't quite as hard as I thought it was. My shoulders are a bit sore. I reckon I can go again. And it's about turning the brain off and tuning a little bit more into yourself and going, okay, I'm going to push a little bit and start to get into the movement and the motion of what it means to set an end goal or to set your end goal and go, you know, let's take a relationship, for example, and go, it's not working. It's not coming together. To look at it and go, you can no longer provide the safety, the security, the emotional support that I need to grow as a human.
Yeah.
Okay, there doesn't need to be ugliness and animosity and all the rest of it. It's just stating a fact, right? You know, it's stating the gratitude for where you've gotten together. But there needs to be a cessation of that relationship. So that's when you turn your board around and you float back in and you go, okay, I'm going to try another path. I'm going to try somewhere else to go. But we all have to make shitty decisions in our lives and things, but we have to be honoring ourselves and being truthful to ourselves in going, I want to be a better person. You know, I want to be more within myself. I know I'm capable of more. And not everybody you meet will be the same. Not everybody you meet will have that same level of intent and energy about wanting to be more. They're happy to get up and be on the treadmill of going to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, coming home, sitting on the couch, watching Netflix, having a beer, eating takeout food, not doing any exercise. They're happy with that. I think we need to recognize that there are going to be people like that who don't want to dive into all the stuff that we talk about in terms of their masculine energy and whether they're holding space for their partner or whatever the hell that means. You know what I mean? It's like we're going to encounter people like that, but then we're going to encounter people like when you and I met and we go, oh, now there's a person.
It's like we're on the same beach.
We're on the same beach and we see a path out in front of both of us and going, I don't want to race you, but can we get a 2-person canoe? And can we do this? Can we do this? You know, can we do this race together? You know, which means we are accelerating to our end point faster because we're working together. You know, we're utilizing the strengths that both you have and both I have in order to achieve an end goal. And that for us is to be of service to others, you know, and to spread the love, essentially to, you know, teach people that living from a space of love rather than a space of fear is going to bring untold riches. And I'm not necessarily talking financial. I'm talking about relationships and friendships and joy and happiness and abundance and all of the things that can come to you when you're open to recognizing that. But I think the first thing is it's starting to go, okay, where can I be better? What can I do to better understand myself, my soul's purpose, my soul's journey? And when I discovered that understanding my energies, it's like, oh, really? That just makes so much sense for me. And then being able to, like you say, when you come up against somebody who's aggressive or, you know, they're a bit selfish or they're this or they're, you know, that they're not prepared to make any change, you know, their way is the only way and that sort of stuff, that there's reasons behind. We need to look at people under the surface and not just take everybody on the beautiful face value that they get. So to understand that there's more to the story and there will always be more to the story. But I think taking that first step in understanding your own energies and where there's room for improvement, because all of us
Yeah.
You know, it's about evolution and growth and being bigger and better and, you know, helping the people that surround us to be bigger and better, and not necessarily by telling them how to do it, but by being a fantastic role model, you know, that we're emulating the type of behavior and attitude and chutzpah, I think you could call it, that we want to see in, you know, our partners, our kids, the people that we work with, the clients that we work with. We want people to be at their best. And I think knowledge is power, and the more knowledge we have, the more powerful we become. But this is just like the icing on a 52 level Italian wedding cake. You know, there's more. There's always going to be a, you know, like, this is what we're talking about in terms of this really narrow, deep, you know, hole to the center of the earth, that, you know, that's what we're looking at. We're just looking at it little bit by little bit by little bit. And, you know, we can talk about it until the cows come home, but we just want to give you a starting point.
Yeah.
Right? If this is the first time you've ever heard about it and you're going, oh, use your fingers, my friends, and start Googling. Do some investigation for yourself and see what you can find that will enable you to be a better version of yourself than what you are today.
That's true. Yeah. Well, thank you. I think you said everything that's needed to be said. I would like just to like summarize one thing, because this keep coming up for me. Like, I love the surfer's analogy to explain the masculine and feminine energy. And just for everyone like listening right now, imagine yourself, if you're for this week, for this coming week, whenever you're listening, just take some time, maybe spend in nature. And just, I feel that that's the moment it's important to tap in your feminine energy, where you sit with yourself and reflect. But the next one is to tap in your masculine energy and take one action. Like, write one goal that you want to achieve in the next week. Like, take 1 week, like do a 7-day challenge for yourself. If you want to share it with us, that will be great. That might inspire someone. But
it could be as simple as not watching TV, or setting your alarm half an hour earlier so you can go out and walk the dog. Or it could be that you don't have a drink for a week to see how you feel at the end of it. Or, you know, you cut out on sugar, or you just eat, you know, really clean for the week. It can be something really, really simple.
It should be simple. Like, just write, for this coming week, I'm going to like maybe go to the gym more, or like 3 or 4 times a week, or like you said, eat clean just for this week.
I'm going to try and move 10,000 steps today.
Yeah.
You know, if you can make your step count 10,000 steps for the day, how can I go about doing that? Or, you know, even if it's down to, I need to do 1,000 steps today, start with something small.
Yeah.
And just go, oh, 1,000 steps isn't much. I got that done by lunchtime. Wonder how many more I could actually do today, you know, and then it just be this constant ongoing challenge. But we'd love to hear as to what was your one thing.
Yeah, like what is your one goal? Like, what is the one goal that you want to achieve? And if you need help, you would like us to help you with those goals, just send us a message, or chat with us, or comment with us.
Do your surf life-saving wave and go, please give me some help or some tips or some ideas. I'm not quite sure where I'm up to. We would love to hear from you. And if it's something I can't answer, then I'm sure my friend will possibly be able to. But if we can't, we have a plethora of people that surround us that can be of assistance. So never fear, kids. We have a large toolbox of other amazing humans that surround us, that make our lives possible, that we can share their knowledge and wisdom as well.
Well, on that note, Teena, thank you so much for today's conversation. It was so, for me, it was inspiring. Like my takeaway was about the surfers analogy. Like that was just perfect. Like, thank you for sharing that. And I feel even the box exercise, like the wounded feminine and healthy feminine, the divine feminine and wounded masculine and divine masculine exercise that you can practice with your partner. We are going to share it in the coming days. So please, I'm really appreciative of what Teena shared today. So thank you so much, for
No
your
worries.
time. Yeah.
Much love, my gorgeous friend on the other side of the world. And we will chat next week.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in every week and listening to us and to our conversation. We hope that it brings you value to you, your family, and your friends. And please share it. Thank you so much. Have a good
Much
week
love.
ahead.
Take care.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.